Hey, this is the invisible. Today I want to share with you karma. What goes around comes around. My mother had shared with me today that for the first time in her life she realizes what it's like to be in jail because she's in a nursing home. And when you live in a nursing home, sometimes, especially during this situation, she's locked down. She can't go anywhere. She can't reach out to loved ones. And now the loved ones are barely reaching out to her because they have their life that they're worried about and what's going on with them. And I try to reach out as much as possible, but sometimes I can't always get through. So now I know what it feels like on the outside, having somebody that I care for locked up. And then being on this outside, I'm feeling a lot of the pressure that goes on and the struggles that people go through on the outside. I have situations going on in my life or situations coming up that I'm concerned about, that I have to be mindful for, about the people that I care about, understanding their fears in this climate where a lot of people are worried about what's going on in their life. They're worried about security. They're worried about protecting themselves. They're worried about reducing the stress in their life. They're worried about focusing on the measures that they can take to meet their needs. And it can be challenging in meeting the needs. One of the things that came up for me is being a peace worker, is somebody, a child of mine, wanting to feel secure, is wanting to use protective measures so that they can feel secure. Their hobby in, a lot of times kids play games and they see things on TV, and it comes up the situation of guns, gun control. And I don't necessarily believe in guns. I try to use other means. I use a defensive fighting tactic instead of using attacking fighting tactic. And I've learned to protect myself that way. But then there are those that are vulnerable, that don't know how to protect themselves. So they try to come up with ways and they try to figure out ways that they can protect themselves and that they can need their needs to fulfill their needs and feeling secure. They might seek outside things to reduce the stress in their life by self-medicating. That's what the last couple episodes have been, how people self-medicate themselves in trying to alleviate their pain. They might go to the doctor or seek alternative measures to take away the pain. And they try to go various avenues. Sometimes the doctor doesn't hear what they're saying. The person that they're reaching out to doesn't hear what they're saying to help reduce the pain in their life. And so they try to take things into their own hand, or they try to seek the advice of friends and family on how to protect themselves. And sometimes some of the information that they get may be dangerous, or may be reckless, or maybe they want to take the proper steps to make sure that they can protect themselves and their loved ones. So they try to figure out the best way to do that. And sometimes you have a lot of individuals that want the right to bear arms because they can't protect themselves. They maybe don't know how to fight or don't know how to seek alternative ways of protecting themselves. They don't feel safe in going to the police. They don't want to run to the police because they see the violence that's being projected on the news media, and they don't feel that the police are protecting them. They don't feel safe with the authority figures that have been put in place to protect them. And so they want to take measures into their own hands. And sometimes that could prove fatal, because if you're not thinking about what that may lead to, I put a gun in my house and, it's there in a safe box for me to protect myself, or maybe I might carry it on me to protect myself. And I don't think of the risk factors, that it may be used in the wrong way. When I get angry, I may want to react, and then I may run and get my safety instrument and use it against others in a way of protecting myself. And I don't realize that they could lead me down a path. I accidentally shoot somebody, or I accidentally yell at somebody, or I accidentally use a form of control to reduce the stress in my life or to feel secure, and I don't understand how that plays out on others. You have people that beat up on others. You have people that feel vulnerable and they don't know how to get that anger out, that stress out, and they reach out and they may beat up somebody, or they may punish somebody or something or someone. We see that so often in today's society, where people want to protect their community and they lash out in violent ways. You have the president that is nervous about the rebellion rising up, so he sends individuals out to certain countries to eliminate the enemy, this perceived enemy. And they may use tactics based on the advice of others that may not be beneficial for everybody, that may not be a sustainable way of protecting ourselves. But that's why we have a defense. But are we using our defenses in the best way to protect ourselves? Are there other ways? Can we actually sit down? Are there nonviolent approaches? And do those nonviolent approaches always work? We can be empathetic in understanding the need of others, but does that get the job done? We may reach out and try to reduce the trauma that others have faced, but does that get the job done? Sometimes just being an ear doesn't work. Somebody wants action. And what action can we take to approach a sense of security? Sometimes the police feel afraid in a situation and they don't know how to handle it. So they reach on their side and they grab that gun, and they feel that if I can eliminate this one enemy, maybe I can protect the rest of society. Is that a proper way of doing things? In the time of danger, do we have the ability to use other resources? Or are we able to get the resources that we need in the time of danger? Those are some of the topics that we need to talk about in getting our needs met. And we need to find nonviolent solutions. Now they come out with the taser. That's a weapon that has been given to police officers to reduce their violent approaches. But is that effective? Is electrocuting somebody an effective way of punishing or reducing the violence that we see? Is stunning somebody? Should we inject them with something? Should we use phasers, proton phasers, where we render the individual immobile until help arrives or until we can find a better way? Should we just lock up everybody? Can we lock up our enemies? Should we always punish the people that are creating a dangerous environment? Are there ways to communicate with them in the time of danger? You have a prison situation and the guards don't have guns. And sometimes they allow the inmates to handle it so they can find the area, and they allow those individuals to work it out. And those individuals don't always sit at the table. They may use violent measures, the approaches that they've used in what they've seen as effective ways of managing the dangerous situation. Are they right? Are they wrong? I'm not the judge. You have to be the judge. You have to be the one that's mindful. Sometimes in that role, we take on an authoritative figure. Our ego may take over, and we may think that we're God, and that we may be able to, what can I do? How can I control this situation? How can I manipulate this situation so I can have the best outcome? Because sometimes it's not always about running away. Sometimes there is no escape. Sometimes you're backed in a corner and you have to think, or you have to find the resources and the tools to be able to properly think. I hope that this reaches the ears of people that need it, so that it provides a moment in the time that it isn't dangerous or it isn't critical, and that we can think of better ways that we can reach the goals that we want to see in life. For those that come, I hope you can stay tuned. For those that want to be a part and want to listen and want to sit down at the table and come up with constructive ways of how we can successfully address the situations, how we can successfully meet the enemy without having to lose control. I hope you hear me. I hope you feel what I'm saying. I hope you take the time to walk in somebody else's shoes before you pull out your weapons of war. You have a blessed day. I hope you have the time to be mindful. I hope you have the time to be compassionate when the enemy arise. And I hope that you can be empathetic and see what his needs are so you can address the situation properly. I hope and I wish and I trust that we can be better, that we can do better, that we can find the solutions that we need so that we can sustain a safe and secure future for not just ourselves, but for future generations. I know a change is coming, but the surprise is, what will it be? Will it be a new earth? Will it be a new heaven? Or will it be the same thing that we've always done that produces the same results? May we have a moment of silence for those that are on the front line. May we have a moment of silence for those that feel the danger. And may we have a moment of silence so we can reduce the stress in our lives. Amen. So it be, so that we can find the solutions that we need, so that we can have a better way.